But he just likes to work for rifles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
He's got a.
Oh my
We can
God.
shoot like for a mile.
You are up.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Selcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Dr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Bering?
Here, and Mr. Ramos, it's really nice to see you back,
Well, I'm glad to
and
be
hopefully
back.
you're doing well. And glad to see that you've had a good recovery. Item D, approval of the minutes. Mr. Lindemann, I'll approve a motion.
I move to approve the minutes, items 1 through 4.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Dr. Gomez. Any?
No,
No, Mr.
Mario.
Ramos.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mario. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Selcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Bering?
Yes. Item E, summary of current events. Superintendent Samaniego.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, and members of our community and staff. We have a busy testing month, so our ASA, our former AZ Merit, AZM2 is now called ASA, and that is taking place right now at the elementaries 3rd through 5th grade and middle schools 6th through 8th. And we have a testing window of approximately about a 3-week to a month or so. So all of those grades are testing. And then over at Douglas High School, there is a cohort, because they've already taken the ACT test. So there's a cohort that is doing a portion of that as well. And so that's major. We're trying to stay away from schools and disrupting them in the classrooms. Mrs. Cox and I did some academic site visits today. We weren't able to get everywhere as we usually do on Tuesdays because of testing. We didn't want to interrupt. So we did visit all of the 2nd grade classrooms at Clawson Elementary. We saw good things happening. We also have Thursday, April the 6th, our BMS will have their National Junior Honor Society induction ceremony at 5:30, and I believe you will be either getting the invite or you would have had received it already. Saturday, April 9th, Paul Huber Middle School Folklorico Dance Recital will take place at Douglas High School Auditorium, 5 p.m., no cost. We have Easter break, April 15th, that's a Friday, and then the following Monday on the 18th. No school and all offices will remain closed. We are planning and organizing a staff appreciation, social emotional well-being event for all of our staff, including maintenance and grounds and all of that. So we are in the works of developing that plan for April the 7th during an early release day. It's been a very tough 2 years, and more we keep hearing from our staff, the social emotional well-being, what can we do as a district better for our staff and our students. The teachers are doing things for the students, and so the administration is looking at ways to help out and acknowledge that everybody has had a rough 2 years and maybe going through some issues that we weren't going through before, overworked, stress, emotional. We lost, family during the pandemic, and so that all has caused several things. So we're planning on doing something for our staff for the 27th. It should be fun. Thursday, April 28th, Paul Huber Middle School National Honor Society, Junior Honor Society induction ceremony will take place that evening. And then we are planning our Diamond Scholar ceremony to come back after 2 years of not having it, and so that will be taking place May 2nd. In addition to that, I wanted to congratulate our Douglas High School girls varsity softball team. Mid-March, they had a tournament held here at Douglas High School, and it was a whole weekend affair, I believe, weekend. And so our softball girls won the tournament, and so they took the championship, beat all teams, and so I wanted to congratulate the coaches. We have Lorena Tapia, Max Tapia, Gilbert Aguilar, Michael Chavez, Carlos Chavez, and Soraya Lugo as the coaches. And our students, athletes, are Alondra Andrade, Estevani Rojas, Alicia La Madrid, Laritza Martinez, Faye Rodriguez, Alicia Campoy, Janelle Escarcega, Analina Rojas, Devani Galaz, Ariana Villalobos, Dominique Munoz, Giselle Clark, Haley Barco, Lucia Pedrosa, Venecia Torres. And so congratulations to the Douglas High School softball team for taking on that first place during that tournament. And Mr. Ortega will be recognizing some other students and athletes that took state, and we'll be sharing that information right now. Also going on at the state level is not very good things coming our way. I attended a webinar today on updates on Senate Bill 1269, and we briefly had a conversation in leadership, but this bill, if it passes, will affect our transportation funding and the way we report transportation miles, the equalization formula. But the biggest thing here is that school districts will have, let's say, a choice as to which way you go in funding and in doing some reports. And so if you qualify, you as the district can apply to be considered a charter district instead of a public school district. And so obviously one has its pros and cons. And so by doing this this bill, it's really affecting public education. And those districts, after all the information they shared with us today, they are taking into consideration our teacher index experience. For example, yearly we have to submit our teacher index experience factor, and so HR has to include a list of all of our teachers, how many years they've worked with the district, and that is part of the formula that goes into funding us under the equalization formula fund. So rural school districts, based on this new proposed bill, are the ones that mostly affected, because rural school districts are the ones that have the highest teacher index experience, which means we have homegrown teachers that usually stay the longest and build up, make our teacher index experience average higher than, let's say, a non-rural school district. So there's a lot of information. Obviously, how would we report transportation miles? We wouldn't have to report to ADE anymore, but then we don't get as much funding. And so don't know if it's going to pass, but it's a bill that doesn't favor school districts, public school education, because the whole message is, oh, you can become a charter school. Comments on that, or Mr. Breen, I don't know if you had anything,
No.
but that's an
I just
extensive.
want to ask, did they give you any idea as to what are the chances of it passing?
No, they didn't really talk about one way or another, but it's not looking good if it does pass, because there's some base level support percentages that are going to be changing and us potentially getting less. So no indication. Okay. So I thought that was important to report. And that's all I have for now. And I do want to say that our ex officio officer is not here today.
Okay, just a quick comment so that we don't have a lot of discussion regarding the softball. You know, that is a very popular and worthy activity for the high school. They merit a lot of recognition, and I'm glad they do. But you know, the softball program isn't fan friendly. The seating is horrible, and it's nobody's fault except the boards and the administration. That you know, when I go by there, people are standing.
I
There's no
stand.
place to sit. There's no room for. It's really not a good. It's not. It's a great environment for the kids and you know all the enthusiasm, but but it's not fan-friendly. It's not like it's on the corner of a block, and there's no seating hardly, with the exception of one small bleacher, I think. I don't know, with the concession stand, I don't know if they're using it, but I really think that the district really needs to look at, that's a popular sport. The kids really excel. And we really need to look at doing something to make it more inviting, more friendly, and more comfortable for the fans, because if you've driven by there and you've seen, it's just horrible.
Yeah, there's not enough seating. I mean, when I've gone, it's I stand or I like kind of lean on my car, and as I watch the game. So there is definitely not, and it's a nice field. I mean, we have bathrooms now, which we didn't have before. So that's a great plus, but not enough seating like our baseball stadium.
In saying, we have to do something for that field? Would we be considering to do for that field or to build a new field?
Well, the district was given a couple of years ago 24 acres of land, and that would be conducive to having a major sports complex there. I couldn't think of anything else that might go there. Maybe some practice fields or whatever. I don't know, but just anything to improve the quality of the parents' involvement, because it's not conducive to being friendly. I know people park around and they look through their cars, but we better not have any more discussion regarding that, because that came under her report. I just wanted to comment on that, and maybe we can have that for a future agenda item to discuss
Yes.
the whole sports complex, and maybe just have a review of that. So, Ms. Samaniego, we'll ask you to look into that a little bit so that we can improve that any way we can. The other thing is that you mentioned that the high school representative won't be here tonight?
Yes, she's not.
Okay, so then we'll move on to balance report. Is Mr. Soto on the phone?
Mr. President, under governing board members, I had one
Oh, I'm
comment.
sorry. Did I skip that?
And
Intentionally? No, I'm just kidding.
And-
No, go ahead.
Mr. Lindeman,
Governor-
if I may, under my superintendent report, we also have Mr. Angel Ortega here that is going to be recognizing the DHS Spirit Line. May we do that before?
Oh,
governing
okay, I
board
thought
report?
you were done. Okay, sure, Angel, go ahead, I'm sorry. You may want to comment too. You can, we can't. You may want to comment if, or react to the statements made about that softball and.
Sure, I'll save that comment for a future agenda item, but I do want to thank you first, the board, for having me, and I want to thank the superintendent for first giving us the opportunity to recognize our students and our student athletes who have overcome a lot over the past couple of years. Before I introduce their successes, I do want to kind of give a bit of a background as to what we've overcome as an athletics department over the past year and a half or so, as we've dealt with probably the biggest challenge that any school or activity or any department has had to deal with, and that's the COVID-19 pandemic. So, I do want to thank our student athletes and our coaches just for their overall resiliency and just believing in us as a district and as a school. We spent countless weeks and months developing plans and over fixing those plans to make sure that everybody goes out about this, do it in a safe way. And, over this past year and a half, it's been nothing but a challenge to be able to do that. So our students, more importantly, their patience and believing in us and coming back out there. Because by all means, I mean, we lost a lot of hope over this past couple of years dealing with this pandemic. And for them to come back out here onto the field, onto the court, whatever it may be, and continue just to pick up where they left off says a lot about the type of students that we have in our program and at our school, as well as the coaches that we have, being able to overcome those challenges as well and to help build onto that program. So I do want to thank them first for what they've been able to do these past couple of years that we've been dealing with that. Secondly, since I've been athletic director at Douglas High School, our goal has been to be able to just continue to build something that our not only our school and our students can be proud of, but our community can be proud of. And it's evident by the positive comments that we've had from community members and district employees and everybody around us that says, how well behaved and how professional our students are just in the community setting. And that's part of what we kind of hang our hat on as an athletics department, is not only the wins and losses, but growing our student athletes into model citizens and giving them leadership opportunities. And we've been able to do that these past couple of years. And so, getting these students visible out in the community, sending them to our elementary school districts, whether it be reading to students in their old elementary schools, saying motivational speeches during homecoming week, things like that, is something that we also have to really recognize what our leadership has been able to do from our students from that standpoint. Yes, we've had students this school year, specifically, in wrestling, break records for wins. Just recently in track, we've had some students break records in the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. We've had teams win tournaments that they've hosted. We've gone to the state level for tournaments as well, like in boys soccer. And then, as I'll introduce in just a bit, we've had even more success being able to be recognized at the state level as state champions. So just overall, our students are doing big things. And, I do have to thank you all for that support over these past couple of years. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible for them to sit right here and be presented this evening. I'd also have to thank our principal, Mrs. Rodriguez. She's a visionary leader. She supports our not only athletics department, but all of our activities and our extracurriculars. I mean, with that support, it gives us the confidence to be able to start looking into the future of our programs, especially in our athletics programs, to look at opportunities or ideas where we can incorporate, unified sports to allow our exceptional education students to participate, or esports, which seems to be growing not just at the statewide level, but at the nationwide level, where esports gives the opportunity for students who might not feel comfortable on the field or on the court, but to participate virtually in video games, believe it or not, which seems to be a growing commodity throughout the country as well. So with that support that we do have, it gives us the opportunities to provide more of a platform for our students to participate, because studies after studies show that if students are participating in athletics or even just in extracurricular activities such as clubs like HOSA, who's had success, Ed Rising, who's had success, that they're more likely to perform well in the classroom. And that's exactly what our goal is, to make sure that we get that well-rounded student by the time they graduate from Douglas High School. So without further ado, one of the biggest successes that we've had thus far, especially in my tenure as an athletic director, is our state championship partner stunt team. And they stem off of our cheerleading team. And for the first time since 2015, I would like to introduce the 2022 Division I, Division II Partner Stunt State Championship team. If they can come up and give them a round of applause. So as I introduce them, I think one of the best things about it right now, as they come up behind me, is they're all returning next year. So, I mean, we have Fernanda Guillen. She's a sophomore in high school, class of 2024. We have Elijah Baleardos, who's a freshman, so he'll be around for a few more years. He's class of 2025. And then we have the leader of our partner stunt team, Carlos Acosta, who is a junior in class of 2023. And behind me, our fearless leader, Coach Andrea Baleardos. So again, after all of those words that I just spoke, this is an example of what hard work, what that result looks like. And so these three right here, along with the rest of our cheer team, have put in a lot of hours. They go across the span of 2 different seasons, which is hard to do, fall and winter. They have to sacrifice the opportunities of going into any other sports or even maybe in other clubs, and sacrifice 2 seasons, and this is the result of this. So they're holding the state championship trophy in front of you today, and I do want to introduce our coach just to kind of speak a little bit about the sport itself and give themselves, just a little recognition, well-deserved. Thank you, Coach.
Forgive me, we were out in the wind for tennis, so I just came from tennis. But wow, what an amazing experience, let me tell you. When you hear Douglas High School called as a state champion, it is undescribable, I could tell you. These kids, though, when they came back they placed second at qualifiers. When they came back, the first things out of their mouth was, we're going to be state champions, right? And they worked every single day for 2 hours every single day. So I had to go to tennis practice, then he did track practice, and then went 2 hours to partner step practice. So they really worked really, really hard, and this was very well earned. And when you do that athletic complex, think of the cheer team also. We need a cheer gym, we're always bounced around, so, But yes, I'm so proud of them. I just am so proud to represent Douglas High School and to bring the state championship to you guys.
Andrea, why
Yes.
don't you tell us a little bit about what they do?
Oh, okay.
And-
So if you
and
didn't.
was it in Phoenix, Tucson, or where?
Yes, it was in Phoenix, at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. So a huge complex there. They do a 1-minute routine, so it's all or nothing. That's it, 1 minute. You don't get any second chances. And he has to throw her in the air and catch her by 1 foot and all kinds of other things. He throws her upside down, and we do. It's called partner stunt. So. There is a video, he posted it online, of their state championship. So if you've ever seen the Netflix series Cheer, and you watch what the boys do, throwing the girls up in the air, that's what he does. And if you see college cheerleading, when you see the boys toss the girls up in the air and catch them, that's these guys right here. So,
But, members of the board, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Who does would you call it choreography, the stunts, or?
The choreography?
Who devises those?
We
How you
do.
get-
So-
The kids do?
we all do. So I want them to have buy-in, because if they are helping do the stunts that they want to do, then they're going to work harder. So I kind of look, there's a rubric like everything else in school. So we have a score sheet, and we look at it, and we're like, okay, this is going to give us this many points. This stunt will get us this many points. So what do you want to do for our inversions? What do you want to do for our twisting stunts? What do you want to do for our extended stunts? And then they choose from that, of all the stunts that we've learned how to do. So, but
Members
yeah.
of the board?
Fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it makes us feel really proud to see you young students here do such a magnificent job. Thank you for your hard work.
Hopefully back-to-back champs.
We expect another trophy. Okay, congratulations.
Do you have videos?
Yes, Mr. Ortega actually posted the video of their state champion video.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I think it'd be interesting for the board to see it, to see it in action and get the good feel.
Yeah.
And we're really, really proud of you
Just
guys.
remember, you see the finished product. There's a lot of outtakes that go along with that. So they make it look easy, but
They're phenomenal athletes, and that's
Yes.
something that always has to be remembered. They take a lot of risk for their own health and ability, and I just want to tell you how proud I am. I'm not surprised. I knew we were headed that way eventually.
yeah, cheer is an interesting sport, because not only do we have to support all of our athletics, which they take time to do, they support the elementary schools, the junior high schools, whenever they ask us to go somewhere. We support our city, the city of Douglas. We do performances for the city, along with having to spend time being able to perfect their own skills as well. So it is high stress. We start in May, we end in February, or this year, March. So it's almost year round, but it's completely worth it. It's really fun. It's worth it at the end, right? Do you want to say something?
To elaborate on the hard work Mr. Ortega is talking about, we plan on defending this title next year, and to build our program and make our Spirit Line program presence felt across the state.
Good job. We're going to take a picture.
Do they do the kind of thing like you saw the other day during the basketball tournament, where that girl
Yes,
popped her up and she got the ball off the court?
Exactly.
Did it get on your shoulders and everything?
Ramos doesn't have to stand. Maybe you guys can.
Here we are, Mike, you just scoot up a little bit too late. That's good, that's good. Really skinny now.
Not in front of Mr. Ross. Okay, 2 and 2.
All right, ready? 1, 2. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, we'd really like to see a video. And Angel, I want to ask you a question. You mentioned that 2 records were broken in track for the 100 and the 220.
Right.
Who was the record holder and who was the new record holder? And
So-
what were the times?
Okay, from off the top of my head, it's our current senior, Anthony Durancelet, broke the record on a automatic timing system, which was at I believe it was the Bisbee Invitational. So the 100-meter dash, he clocked the 11.1, and the old record was, and it's kind of hard to explain. Mr. Ellsworth had to explain it to me, but the previous record was actually 11.0 flat, but that was on a handheld timer. So when that happens, NFHS rules require a conversion to match the computerized system, so it was converted to 11.24. So that was in 2002 by Alexis Gonzalez. And from off the top of my head, I'm not quite sure what his time was for the 200 meter, but Duranzlet broke that record as well at the same invitational, and broke Frank Arceniega's record, which was held since 2004.
That's great. That's
So,
wonderful.
Yeah, so we have some really fast athletes.
Very
and we
good.
hope that in June or sometime, hopefully in May, we bring another state champion up
Can
here.
you, is he recruited, is he a football player?
He's a former football player, and hopefully he can land somewhere at the collegiate
Okay,
level
great.
for track.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And my husband too, he helps me coach, so.
Yes, the better half.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
all you
you.
do.
To say
I'm
something.
gonna go back to tennis.
Yes, Miss-
Did you have your hand up?
Oh, no,
No.
I'm just saying hi.
Oh,
He's a coach.
well, you're the better half of that team.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Barrios.
Yeah, that's absolutely great. Okay.
Mr. Brain?
Yes, go ahead.
Could I brag?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, because, and this is some years back, of course, we had a loaded team because we had Bugsy Lewis's daughter. She would do the shot put, and that was an automatic 20 points, no matter what. But we had also a fast team. Nicole was they came in second in the 4x1, and they had a great team, and they won state a couple of times.
That's
Okay,
good.
nice.
You know, to win a state championship, people don't really understand the difficulty of that and the dedication. That's really an accomplishment, and we're so proud of these kids. Really, really. And then to do it in Phoenix and do it at the Coliseum, and everybody knows they're from Douglas. That's wonderful. Okay. Any other board member? And Mr. Lindeman.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask Ms. Samaniego for a report on the construction at the high school
Yes.
next meeting.
Things are going well. We meet once a week, and the building, which is going to
Well,
encompass.
excuse me. Let's not do it under board reports. Why don't you do it when we get to Caesar, because that has to do with the budget and finances.
Okay.
So do you mind mentioning?
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Because Caesar isn't here, and so when she gets to budget reports and business reports, let her do it under that. Do you mind?
Well, I was thinking they could do it next meeting, but whichever.
And we do have some videos that we want to show you. We have some camera footage, and you'll see some real-time construction going on, and Marco's done a very good job with that, and he's not here. He's actually attending the same conference with Mr. Soto. So we could do that at the next meeting, too. Show
Well,
you
it's up
some
to Mr.
videos.
Lindeman.
No, that's perfect.
Okay, is that all right? Okay, other board members, any reports?
I went to I read at Joe Carlson for the Love of Reading Week and had a great time. Wonderful, wonderful group of kids. That's all.
I saw you. Anybody else? Yeah, bring back old memories?
Just a few.
Anybody else? We'll move on to human resources, because is Mr. Soto going to make a report?
Yes, he's on the
Yeah.
phone.
Is he on the phone? Oh, okay, then go ahead, have him do it.
Go ahead, Mr. Soto.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Board President, board members, Ms. Samaniego, Mrs. Cox. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Again, this is my monthly report for the month of March. We're getting close to the end of the school year, and most likely I'm going to bring you new numbers for the final budget revision for this school year. I'm going to bring that to you on the next board meeting. But then you have that report in front of you. Do you have any specific questions? I know Mrs. Samaniego will talk about the issues with that bill that is probably going to affect a lot of rural school districts, and also about the construction of the DHS. But that's going to be a good presentation next month when you're going to be able to see videos and the progress that we had on that construction. But talking about the report, do you have any specific questions?
One thing you could tell us is what are the timelines, the schedule look like on that building according to your timetable?
According to Adelson and Peterson, we're still on track to have everything done potentially for fall break in October. So that's what we have so far. Everything is going well. There's still some hiccups here and there, especially because of the demand on materials. that they've been encountering, but everything it's as planned right now.
Members of the board, any questions, comments regarding the budget report? Ms. Salchow?
No, just regarding the building, it's shocking how large it is. It really is. When you take a drive by and you see how it's going to be phenomenal.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Dr.
Okay, Mr. Soto, what is the impact of the increase in prices for what we're doing?
Again, there's been issues with the demand on those supplies, especially in the metal. But those prices were secured months ago, and yes, of course, we had to make some adjustments on that. But the SFB was able to cover those cost increases, especially for the metal for that specific building. I don't have a specific number that I can give you the final impact, fiscal impact that has created, but again, it was absorbed with total allocation for that project.
Okay, members of the board, is that it?
Yep.
Anything else, Mr. Ramos?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. We'll move to Human Resources Report, Ms. Cox.
Okay, good afternoon. So with our attendance enrollment, we have currently 3,828 students. That's a difference of 4 students compared to last year. So we're up 4 students this year. In terms of COVID, as of last week, we had 1 student case reported and 2 adult cases. So we're still holding steady there. We are actively recruiting, so you'll see on the agenda teachers and staff. So we're actively recruiting for next year. Contracts are already being sent out for teachers. We're busy. And Mrs. Samaniego did not mention, but on May 5th, we will have an employee recognition for our employees. We haven't done that in 2 years.
Members of the board, any questions? Mr. Ramos?
You'll do that here at the patio there?
We're actually going to do it at the visitor center.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Yes.
Yes, okay, when you say cases, because this really blows my mind, are we talking positive or sickness?
Positive. Only positive cases is what we report.
Okay.
Denise, I have a question about how many people will not be returning to their certified positions?
We have approximately 20 to 25.
Okay.
A large group of them are Filipino teachers.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's due to their visa
Visa,
status,
sure.
that they have to go back after 5 years. And so that's a good portion of them. And as always, once contracts get issued, we hope that our employees sign them and return them. And it is not until that time that we find out if there's a few more that will not be signing the contract.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody want to address the board? Public comments?
No, sir.
Item 2, consent agenda items. A, approval of the following consent agenda items as listed there. Entertain a motion to approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindeman. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mrs. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salchow?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item 3, item 3. Discussion action on the approval of board contribution for health benefits for school year 2022, 2023. Are you going to do that, Ms. Samaniego?
Mr. Soto's going to do the presentation or give you the information. We do have Ben. Is Ben on the line?
Only if we need.
Only if we need him. And Cesar, you want to go, and then I can chime in if needed.
Okay, sure. Again, you have, we didn't have to go for bid for our health insurance since we're still on contract, but of course we have to reflect if there's any changes in cost. And yes, in fact, there was an increase of 2.15% to the overall health insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield but we're keeping the same plans. Like we have done in the past, we have increased the monthly board contribution to cover that. So we're going to continue paying for the health insurance for our employees, we're recommending to increase that board contribution instead of 640. That's what it was. That's what it is this current year. But for next year, to increase the board contribution to $665 per employee, for roughly $7,980 per employee that the district pays to cover for their insurance. There's no changes on the vision plan and the dental plan. So that's what we're recommending here. Do you have any specific questions?
Members of the board?
Or Mrs. Samaniego, if you want to say something else.
No, so obviously, our employees don't see this contribution as part of their salary, but it is, something that we're very grateful, as employees, that all of our employees have this 100% coverage for them. In addition to that, you have the employee benefits plan recommendations, with the information. So as Mr. Soto said, our dental didn't change, our visions didn't change. And Basic Life is being awarded after going through the process to Minnesota Life. And Voluntary Life is, again, Minnesota Life. The Employee Assistance Program is being awarded to Holman Group. No adjustments to the plan. COBRA is continuing with Discovery Benefits. Short-term disability is going to Hartford Life. And voluntary and accidental critical hospital, voluntary accident, critical illness, not criminal, critical illness. Want to make sure that's on the record. And all of those are just voluntary. That's not something that the district pays for any of us as employees. And so the only cost that we are proposing is that hopefully you approve the increase to $665 per month for a total annual of $7,980.
A couple of questions. First of all, that's for a single coverage, right?
Single coverage, yes.
And then, of course, if it's husband and wife or family, then how is that for the board's information? How's that happen?
If both of them are employees of the district, you mean?
Right.
Okay, so if both employees, what we do is, once the board approves, we work with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they submit our an Excel sheet which clearly states, okay, if you're an employee, this is how much you're going to pay. If you're going to add employee plus children, it's going to cost you this extra. If you're going to put employee plus family, it'll cost you extra. When both spouses are employees of the district, then there's let's say a discount towards that. So that's a different fee. The district will not pay, for example, and chime in, Cesar, the district will not pay the higher amount for both employees because there is a reduction guaranteed benefit for having dual spouses in the district. I don't have those amounts because those amounts will be determined and placed in the Excel sheet for our members to see when they select what coverage they're going to get.
So that the board knows how many single individual persons avail themselves to it in the district of the employees.
You have how many? 300 and
I know, 385.
Out of how many
Yeah.
employees
like 500.
that are eligible in 285?
385.
Take advantage of it.
Yes.
Now that's single coverage. But then there's also, for the question I just asked previously, is there that kind of coverage? How many of those do you have?
And I don't have that off, I don't have that information available right now, but I can get that for you.
Well, I think just for informational purposes is that is a tremendous benefit. You hardly see that anywhere where the employer pays 100% for single coverage anywhere. But the other question should be is why aren't more people taking it? Do you know? I mean, do they come in and tell you why, or do they have coverage elsewhere?
Sometimes they
And that somebody else is employed someplace and the spouse?
Yes, they take it. And some cases, we have, for example, I have coverage with my spouse somewhere else. And so there's a document that they sign that they're not taking our health insurance. So that could be one reason. Some employees may have also like access maybe, and so that could be another reason. Mainly, it's because they have insurance coverage somewhere else.
Does it help you in recruiting to make that known to them that the district covers, if they want it, that single coverage, they get it 100%?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, members of the board?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Cesar, they raised your rates, but is the coverages the same, or did they do any change in coverages? You understand
No,
what I mean?
Dr. Gomez, although the plans stay the same, with the same coverage that we currently have, it's just an increase in cost, basically.
Okay, all right.
And then, of course, that's made available to every employee in the district.
Yes.
Okay.
So we were lucky that it wasn't a higher increase. Typically, you're talking 10%, 12%, so it was a 2.15, which allowed us to still fit that into our budget for next year.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the increase in board contribution as recommended by the administration.
By Mr. Lindeman, is there a second?
Second.
By Dr. Gomez. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item 3B, discussion action on the approval of certified hires for school year 2022-23. Ms. Samaniego.
Mr. President, I'm going to recuse myself on this item.
From the whole list, or would you like us to vote on all of them with the exception of number 3, and then you vote on that one?
I think it would just be easy to do it as a group.
From the whole group?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Samaniego.
Okay. And let me get to you got to get good with these iPads. So we have approval of certified hires, and these are all for school year 22-23. So officially, their contract will not begin until, days before the school year starts. So I want to make sure you understand that. And so the list is as presented.
I think the disparity shown there on the first person listed there is because that individual probably, it states there, just for clarification, that they're given credit for past experience. And then one of the board members had commented earlier about the base salary. And the question was, could the board individually look at the salary and isolate it and address that as a sole item, as to put more money on the base, and then, of course, do all of the other things that we did last week or the week before? And the answer is yes. The board certainly has a prerogative that if we want to take a unilateral position that we want to individually raise, and I don't mean individual, I mean single them out and solely look at them or look at the base, that we certainly could do that. We could put money on the base, and we could make it more attractive for a first year employee. And then I'm going to ask you about this, and then of course Denise, to see how much she thinks it would make a difference. However, the drawback, and it's a major one, and it's always a consideration, that if you do that, say the board or any board would put $3,000 on the base, and of course that would only affect a limited amount of people, initial hires, et cetera, right? But what would happen there is, if you would look back and see that people had been in the district maybe 2-3 years, to show you how poorly teachers are paid, that exercise would probably put a beginning teacher first year in this district over and above somebody who'd been here maybe 2 or 3 years. So that's the danger in doing that. So I know that question was asked by a board member earlier. So just not discussion, just for informational purposes. And I don't know if if the administration has ever thought about doing that, but there always is a disparity there. It's even in classified. Same thing works in classified.
Mr. President,
You, go ahead.
Ms. Samaniego, maybe you could research or find out in other districts how we can give that base increase and not hurt our teachers that have been here for 5 years. As Mr. Moraine said, you get a starting teacher making the same as one that's been here for 5 years. And we had that situation several years back. There must be a way we can give that base, but also not to include something where our teachers that are here for 3 or 4 or 5 years also be above that other teacher. You know, there's got to be some way we can figure it out.
Well, there's absolutely,
You have to
when
give a
there's.
commensurate raise
Yes.
everybody out.
Where there's a will, there's a way. But then, the other factor is the funding, right? So, and Mr. Moraine is right. If we change, our base, our starting base, and this is for a teacher, principal, classified staff person, and you say, okay, I'm gonna add $3,000 to that base pay, and a new teacher will start making $37,000. So obviously, what we have to do is we have to look at what everybody else is making, and you try to do as equal or a little bit more to those employees. And so then that obviously affects the budget, because now you're looking at, I have 200 teachers that I have to raise, let's say, $4,000 to on top of their base, so that we don't have, and we don't run into those issues of a new teacher making more than maybe a 6-year teacher or maybe a 3rd-year teacher. So it does have, it can be done. What typically is happening right now, and our salary committee, our DUSD leadership team will be coming up with some kind of a recommendation for base pay increase, but taking into consideration everybody else. So we wouldn't come to you and say, our recommendation is to add $4,000 to the base and leaving everybody else there, or only raising $500 to our existing employees. I don't think we want to do that. But what typically is happening right now, and we have been doing it for the last, I want to say, 5 years, we've been adding to our base. So if you remember what was it, 6 years ago, maybe, Martha, 7, when was it, 28.4? I mean, it was still like 28.4 for, yeah, about 6 years ago. So ever since then, we've gotten into where it's at least at 34 right now. But every time we've raised the base, we've had to do something, elsewhere. I will tell you it's not perfect, because our salary committee is right now reviewing all of those salaries and figuring out, by doing the increase in base, some of our maybe 10-year teacher, for example, a teacher that's been here 10 is making $500 more than our 3rd-year teacher. Well, then how fair is that, right? So what districts are doing right now, they're raising the base salary, but they're not raising it more than half of what your existing teachers are getting. So if you are raising the teacher salaries, let's say, at their base pay $2,000, you would only raise the starting base at $1,000. So that factor wouldn't start affecting, the difference in so closeness in salary. I have districts right now that I've been working with, and they increased it by $500, the base, but then they gave the teachers $1,000. So something like that. So it's got to be very carefully reviewed, so that everybody is given something, and the new staff don't get more than our existing teachers.
And you said right now a starting teacher is
34.
making how much?
34,000.
34,000, which is good, because when I signed my first contracts as a board president, it was 26,000 for a starting teacher, 26,000 plus. So we've been trying to get it
Yes.
going there.
Yeah.
And it's very important. The only way we're going to attract good teachers, young teachers to come and to stay here is that we're able to pay them, so we have to figure out some way to do it,
Yes.
my opinion.
And if we do, when the salary committee has made the recommendations and I review everything, then we will come back to the board, and anybody that's been hired right now to start next year, if there is an increase in pay for that, for next year, their new contract will have that new raise.
I have a comment. And, you know, and this is why, Denise, you have to really stress the point that we're giving him the health insurance, because that's an untaxed benefit, okay? So if you make 3,400 and then how much is the insurance?
7,600 and
7,000
something.
with not paying any tax, that's a big benefit. Then the other thing that we have to consider is that every time that we raise the salaries, and this is talking to somebody that paid salaries, your FICA and your Medicare go up, and your contribution goes up. So it's not just not like saying I'm going to give you $2,000 more, but then I have to pay more out of my own pocket to satisfy the government.
Yes.
That's it.
That's why every opportunity I get, because I personally have been a victim of this system all my life, except when I got into administration, then of course things change, and the attitude towards administrators is different than it is towards teachers. But it's always been my opinion that, and that's why I always stress as much as I can, and we all do, because we all agree, that we should always give as much as we can every opportunity we have. Because just earlier, Mrs. Samaniego mentioned one of the horror stories of many that are coming out of the legislature. That's just one very small one. It's even worse. But I'll tell you that this last time that we gave the 3% and the recommendation was for 4%, I personally thought we should have gone along with the initial recommendation, because I think every opportunity that's given by this administration, when they give us the best numbers they can, is for us to take advantage of it and jump on it and say, is that all you can do? Can you do more? But they know in their mind that we want them to do more, but we've got to stress that more. And, you know, I know that there's always a disparity when we look at things, and a couple of board members commented, but in my opinion, and not because I've been at on every side of every table and across different responsibilities all through the years, but I think that boards, governing boards, should deal, and I think I basically alluded to it, we should deal with one sector, then the other sector, then the responsibility we have with the other people, based on what they do and what their duties and responsibilities are, what their education is, how much it costs them to get there, and the sacrifices they have to do at higher levels. We take care of our certified staff always as best we could. We should be looking more, to be honest with you, we should be looking more at administrators, because administrators never complain when we give a high raise to certified. Certified should feel equally loyal and an allegiance to the people that they work for, and say, you know, that's great. We applaud that. They should get more money. We're getting more money. They should get more money. So I think, and the reason for this little dissertation that I'm going to put to writing one of these days, I'm just kidding, is that in the future, I think that in the near future, that this administration needs to start looking for next year. Because I'll tell you, I won't be here, and some of you still may be here, but you're going to be looking down the road at, there's not going to be any funding. There won't be any money. There won't be any money for public education, because those legislators are owners and sit on boards of money-making charter schools. They have personal incomes coming from those charter schools, and you need to read. You need to know those things. And public schools are the stepchild now. And we're not going to get any money. I won't be here. I won't be sitting on this board. But I'll tell you, we all better do everything possible we can while the getting's good. Because she mentioned, talked about funding, they've completely revamped it. They did it in 2 days at the legislature. They took a bill and they avoided the whole legislative process to show you how devious they are. They took a bill and they struck everything. They call it a striker. A bill that wasn't going anywhere, but it had already gone through committees and it had already met all of the prerequisites of everything that they do. at that nut house up there, and they put all this new language in that bill, and they passed that bill that she was alluding to. That was just part of it, what she mentioned in there, and they passed it. And that shows you what their intention is and how fast they're moving to destroy public education. Can I get an amen to that? I'm just kidding, but.
Amen.
I'm serious. I'm serious about that. We need to do everything we can while we can do it, while the iron's hot. And they have to keep us in line by saying, we're at the max, we're stretching it as much as we can. But you can do it, and we can do it. And that's why we always tell them, you don't misrepresent. You come in here, you tell us what we can do, and we'll vote on it. And that's why we ought to be operating truthfully in the next couple of years. All right. Do we have a motion on the floor?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Lemon?
I'm recused.
Oh,
that's right. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
move
sorry.
that we accept the new hires as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, and let the record show that Mr. Lindeman did recuse himself. Item C, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
We have, as presented, several positions for this year, okay? We have a lot of these are just vacancies right now, and from bus drivers, food service, grounds workers, in the health field, reading interventionists, so as presented, please.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the
By Mr.
classified
Lindeman.
hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item D, discussion action on the approval of certified resignations and retirements. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and we have three individuals, Mrs. Trevino, Curriculum and Federal Programs Director, resigning effective at the end of her contract this year. Connie Klein, CT Early Childhood Teacher, and that is in December. So she's retiring in December of 2022. And Mr. Whiting, a longtime science teacher, effective at the end of this year. And so it is with regret. Geraldina has been in the district for about, I think, the last 6 years, and from being a principal to an assistant principal, I stole her from Mr. Walker. He wasn't very happy with me, and brought her over to the Curriculum and Federal Programs Department, and she's done that job for 2 years. And I want to thank her, and I think you're back there, for the 2 years she gave us. And Connie Klein, she's runs that early childhood development CTE class for our future educators at Douglas High School. And so it's always a pleasure if you ever have a chance to go visit her class and see these students. I was there last week, and I believe her kids also won some type of state competition, I believe, or something. There was some award that Connie Klein students had. And then, of course, we have Mr. Whiting, longtime teacher of Douglas High School for science. And so it is with regret that I bring these individuals to you.
So that when we entertain the motion, are they rehirable, all three of them?
Yes.
So would you include that in your motion, that they're rehirable, Mr. Lindeman, with the motion to approve?
I move to approve the certified resignations and retirements, and all are rehirable.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? And I'm going to echo what Ms. Samaniego said about Ms. Trevino. That's with deep regrets. That's a huge loss. Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item E, discussion action on the approval of classified resignation and retirement. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, as presented, and a special thank you to Mary Vigil. She's been with the district for 19 years, and she is retiring. She's currently in the alternative to suspension monitor at Douglas High School. Sweet lady, very pleasant to work with, and we want to wish her well. And she's leaving us at the end of May.
Move to approve the certified resignations and retirement.
Second.
Are they rehirable?
Yes.
And rehirable.
Thank you. You didn't know that at the time. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Move to
F.
item F, discussion action on the approval of classified transfers, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, board, and you have employees that are already in a position with us, so I'm going to just explain. Danitza Martinez is currently the admin assistant under business office, and under your background information, there's enough amount of work where we needed a second purchasing specialist to cover all the duties and responsibilities. So we're not adding a position, we're doing away with the admin assistant and just making hers into a purchasing specialist. We have Denise Padilla she applied for the maintenance worker position, so she's moving from campus monitor to maintenance worker. We have Agustin Ballesteros, currently a DHS security, and he's been with the district for like 10 years. And he's being recommended as our school safety emergency preparedness supervisor. Maria Noriega from ESS instructional aide to campus monitor. Diego Chavez, maintenance worker to the HVAC technician position. Ana Flores, a longtime employee of the district, has worked in Youth Student Center, registrar, Title I. She worked under, Minerva Kong and Dr. Herrick for many years, has worked with Mene. And I will tell you, I was stressing about that position. Nobody seemed to want it. It's a tough position, a lot of responsibility. Our reports have to be spot on. And so Ana Flores is being recommended as the new supervisor, and Francisco Ruiz from Preventative Maintenance Tech to the maintenance supervisors. So we're very happy that we were able to fill some of these key positions.
Entertain a motion to approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos.
Mr. Bray, just a quick question. So Ana Flores is going to take Mena's place?
Yes, she
Okay.
is. Yes. And of course, that won't happen until Mene submitted the retirement, and I think she's counting. She's counting by the hours, by the minute. May 26th. So there's a
Okay.
lot of training that's taking place right now
Okay.
at New Student Center.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item G, discussion act.
Mr. Bereen, if we may, I know that Mr. Augie is here, and I don't know if there's any other employees that are moving into a new position, but Mr. Ballesteros, would you like to say some words as the new supervisor?
Very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, we thank you. We thank you.
All right. Welcome.
Yeah, Augie's a good man. He's got a lot of experience, and I know he's going to do a good job. Item G, discussion action on the approval of athletic resignations. Ms. Samniel.
As presented, and one is the wrestling coach, effective, this was after the wrestling season, and Ashley Ellis, head volleyball coach, and she is resigning because she is also not returning to the district, so both are rehirable.
Entertain a motion to approve
I move to approve and rehirable.
by Mr. Lindemann. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item H, discussion action on the approval of volunteer, Ms. Samaniego.
And as presented, this is a volunteer for track and field for Douglas High School, and you have all the background information there.
Former student as well, right? Very good. Entertain a motion to approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann,
Second.
second by Ms. Selchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item I, discussion, information only for certified internal transfer. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, and so this is, obviously doesn't require a vote. This is just so we can keep it on record. Mrs. Morales is moving from longtime RBMS teacher to now Douglas High School for the next school year.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
It's
Information
just for
only.
information. It's for
Oh,
information.
that's right,
only,
that's right,
yes.
just information only. Item J, discussion action on the approval of donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27. Ms. Samaniego?
As presented, and one just minor clarification, so you know, the following, you have 5 donations, and want to reiterate that the donors choose is going to the classroom, and so that's why we're bringing it to the board. The money's not going to the teacher, because if it were going to the teacher, then we don't need to bring it to the board. Other than that, it's as presented.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Second,
Second.
by Mr. Ramos. Any discussion?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
On the donations from the donors choose, did they have to put in for like a little grant or is that?
Yes, they have to submit something, a project-based.
The project, yes.
uh-huh.
Mhm,
And
okay.
then they get awarded.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item K, discussion action on the approval of emergency procurement purchases related to COVID-19. Is Mr. Soto going to do that?
Yes.
Is he on the line still?
Yes, he's on the line.
I'm still here. Yeah, it's just a monthly process that we have to go, Mr. President, about procurement and kind of like not following the normal procurement rules to purchase supplies that we need to address COVID, like PPE equipment and all that stuff. So it's just, we have to bring it to the board.
Any questions, members of the board? Ms. Samaniego, any follow-up on that?
No, I'm just it's
I'm
normal
glad to
stuff.
see that Mr. Soto's still available because
Still
Yes.
sleeping.
I thought he might be at a reception that's provided by the vendors. Roll call.
I need a
Oh, we
motion.
need the motion,
I
I'm
move to
sorry.
approve.
Second.
By Dr. Gomez. Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item L, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2022-23 employment contract for directors, principals, and assistant principals. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and you have the list of all of our administrators from the directors. On item L, this does not include the 2 classified directors because of the certification. We separate them and because of the benefits package that comes along with their contract. So Katie Walker, Jesus Fernando Pineda, Corey Moen, Fernando Morales, Claudia Leon, Henry Jones, Enrique Duron, Deborah Herrera, Rodna La Madrid, Melissa Rodriguez, Angel Vidal, Rodney Egan, and Angel Ortega are being recommended with the 3% salary increase as approved by the board last time.
Motion to approve
I move to approve.
I second.
by Ms. Selchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item M, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2022-23 employment contracts for certified and classified administrative staff. Ms. Samaniego.
And here you have Mr. Marco Durazo, Director of Information Technology, and he's a classified, and Albert Young, CT Director, and he, DHS Assistant Principal, and he is certified. The reason that they are separate is every year, these 2 admins are still with the benefits package that has been board approved. It was board approved last year, so every year, as you have indicated, these individuals are grandfathered in, and so when they leave that position, that the board contribution for their benefits will not be included for a new person taking on that position. So you need to make that decision today to continue including that benefits plan.
Entertain a
With the
motion to
3%.
approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindemann. Second
Second.
by Dr. Gomez. Discussion? That list got cut down considerably since the time that the board took the action to review that, right?
Yes.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Dr. Gomez?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item 4A, request for future agenda items. Announcements?
Well, I think we should take into account what he wanted, maybe the report on
The sports or the,
construction.
or the construction, I'm sorry, yes, construction, I have sports complex venue, kind of possibilities for the softball field.
Maybe
And
we have a rich alumni that would,
yes,
Yeah, that automatically go on there. Any further discussion on any of that, board members? All right, Ms. Samaniego, that's it?
yes, we just reminder Easter break, April 15th and April 18th. We hope everybody has a good Easter and stays safe. And our next regular board meeting is on May 3rd.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I move to approve. I mean, excuse me, to adjourn.
That was my take. Second
Second.
by Ms. Salcha. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Good to see you back, Mr. Ramos.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Alma.